Women prefer big penises, but not in the way the world keeps telling you, because the world has reduced intimacy into something shallow and measurable, when in reality what women truly care about is not the physical size of a body part, but the size of the presence that a man brings into her life and the size of the energy that radiates from him when he is confident and grounded in himself. And for so long men have been carrying this burden, believing that if they don't measure up they won't be loved, they won't be chosen, they won't be enough, and that insecurity eats at them quietly. It makes them overcompensate, it makes them doubt, it makes them chase validation in all the wrong places, when the truth has always been right in front of us. Women do not sit around ranking men by inches, they sit around remembering how someone made them feel. They remember the way someone looked into their eyes with undivided attention. They remember whether they felt safe, whether they felt seen, whether they felt like they mattered more than anything else in that moment. And the men who understand this, the men who choose to show up with full presence and full authenticity, are the men who leave the biggest impact, because women prefer big energy but not the fake kind. They prefer big confidence but not arrogance. They prefer big laughter that fills the room and makes them forget the heaviness of their day. They prefer big patience, the kind that waits and listens instead of rushing to prove something. They prefer big respect, the kind that makes her feel valued and honored and not objectified. And that is why the conversation about size has always been a lie. It distracts both men and women from the truth of intimacy. Intimacy was never supposed to be a performance, it was never supposed to be comparison, it was supposed to be connection, it was supposed to be two people building trust moment by moment. And all the research, all the conversations, all the real-life experiences point to the same conclusion, that what women want is someone who knows who they are, someone who is comfortable in their own skin, someone who does not shrink back from their insecurities but owns them and still shows up fully. And think about how freeing that is, because it means you are not defined by your body, you are defined by your presence, by your courage, by your willingness to grow and to show up honestly. And when a woman feels that, when she feels that you are there with her, not distracted, not doubting yourself, but fully there with her, she prefers that over anything else. She prefers your focus, she prefers your strength, but not just in your body, in your mind, in your ability to stand in who you are. She prefers your humor that lightens the heaviness of life. She prefers your creativity, the way you can turn an ordinary moment into something unforgettable. And this is the paradox: the louder the world shouts about size, the more women quietly whisper that what they really want is something deeper, because women prefer big hearts but not shallow love. They prefer big minds but not controlling egos. They prefer big dreams but not empty promises. They prefer big commitment but not suffocating control. They prefer men who can love deeply without losing themselves. And when you realize this, you start to see that you are already enough, that nothing about your worth was ever going to be measured by a ruler or compared to a number. Your worth has always been in the way you treat people, in the way you carry yourself, in the way you make someone feel when they are with you. And that truth is the ultimate freedom. It frees you from comparison, it frees you from shame, it frees you from the myth that you need to be something you're not to be loved, because the reality is women prefer authenticity but not pretense. They prefer consistency but not perfection. They prefer passion but not recklessness. They prefer kindness but not weakness. They prefer strength but not domination. And when you start living this truth, you begin to see the world differently. You begin to realize that intimacy is not about being bigger, it is about being real. And that is what women have always preferred and always will. Women prefer connection, confidence and presence over physical size, because when you strip away all the noise and all the conditioning that has been poured into people's minds for generations, you realize that the most powerful thing a man can ever bring into a relationship is not his body but his ability to make another human being feel truly seen and safe and valued. And this is something you notice if you listen closely to the way women talk when they are being honest with each other. They are not sitting around with rulers and comparing statistics. They are talking about how someone made them laugh until their stomach hurt. They are talking about how someone remembered the little details about their day that no one else noticed. They are talking about how a man carried himself with quiet confidence instead of desperate performance. And this matters because intimacy is not built on numbers, it is built on connection, and that connection grows out of presence. And presence is not something you can fake, it is something you create when you silence the distractions inside your mind, when you stop worrying about how you measure up and instead focus on who is in front of you. It is when you are not in your head but right there in the moment, listening with your full attention, breathing with patience, leaning in with energy that says, I am here with you and I am not going anywhere. And women notice this. They notice when your eyes drift away, they notice when you are thinking about yourself instead of her, and they notice when you are fully locked in and nothing could pull you away. And that is the kind of presence that builds real attraction and real intimacy, because it signals safety and trust, and it signals a kind of confidence that does not need to be proven through external validation. And think about what confidence really is. It is not arrogance, it is not the loudest voice in the room, it is not bragging or posturing. posturing or pretending. Confidence is quiet, it is steady, it is rooted in knowing who you are and not needing to be someone else, and that kind of confidence is magnetic because it frees the woman from worrying about whether you are going to crumble under pressure or whether you are secretly insecure. It allows her to relax, it allows her to lean into the connection without feeling like she has to carry your doubts for you, and that is what creates closeness and comfort that lasts far beyond any physical detail. Confidence also means you don't chase validation in the wrong places. You don't try to prove yourself through superficial things because you know that your worth is not up for debate, and when a woman senses that she is drawn to it because it is rare and it is grounding, and when you combine that kind of confidence with true presence, you create an environment where connection thrives, and connection is what makes people remember you, it is what makes people crave being around you, it is what makes intimacy meaningful because you cannot fake connection. It is either there or it is not, and women prefer it because it speaks to something deeper than the surface. It speaks to the part of them that wants to be cherished, not compared. It speaks to the part of them that values being understood, not objectified, and it speaks to the part of them that is looking for more than just an experience but for a memory, a bond, a partnership that feels alive and real. And this is why so many men miss the point, because they are too busy worrying about performance instead of realizing that performance is empty without connection. You can have all the external advantages in the world, but if you cannot be present, if you cannot bring confidence, and if you cannot create connection, then it will always fall flat. But on the other hand, you can strip everything away, and if you have those three things, if you have presence, if you have confidence, if you have connection, you will always create something meaningful and unforgettable, because women prefer the energy that makes them feel alive. They prefer the kind of attention that makes them feel like the only person in the world. They prefer the confidence that makes them feel safe enough to let go, and they prefer the connection that makes them feel deeply valued.